The best leaders have been coaching others and being coached themselves for years, probably hundreds or even thousands of years. But now in the modern business world, we have a range of different processes, structures and frameworks to help us. Yet, at its simplest, coaching is nothing more than a conversation between two people, where one person helps another to learn and develop by reflecting on their own thoughts. The origins of coaching lie in Socratic questioning. That is a form of teaching ascribed to the ancient Greek philosopher Socrates. The teacher, or coach, asks the learner questions that compel them to think for themselves and to find their own answers. In doing so, they become more aware of the subject of the question, and by finding their own answers, they will more effectively take responsibility for the choices that they make. So it is the role of the coach to carefully select their questions, to direct the coachee or learner's attention to where it needs to be to find the right answers to improve their performance in the way that they need to. The beginnings of modern workplace coaching came when Timothy Galway developed his inner game thinking. Initially, he developed the inner game as a way for coaching sports, things like tennis, golf and skiing. It was Graham Alexander and Sir John Whitmore who brought these ideas from the United States, where Galway was working, to the UK. Along the way, Alexander and Whitmore started to develop Galway's ideas and extend them beyond the domain of sport into workplace performance coaching. Along with Alan Fine, they went on to teach their coaching approach to consultants in the UK, myself included. And then they started to codify their approach into a clear methodology. The result is the GROW model, which is now the most widely used of the coaching models. At its simplest, coaching is a way to help people to find ways to perform at their highest level. A coach helps a learner or a coachee to find ways to meet their own goals, to solve their problems, or to develop the skills that they need. Rather than sharing their own knowledge and experience, as a mentor does, or training the learner, a coach helps the learner to find their own answers and to develop and deepen their own understanding of the situation at hand. Two leaders in the field of coaching are Eric Parslow and Sir John Whitmore, and they each offer a valuable definition of what coaching is. Parslow describes coaching as a process that enables learning and development to occur, and thus performance to improve. To be successful, a coach requires a knowledge and understanding of process, as well as the variety of styles, skills and techniques that are appropriate to the context in which the coaching takes place. Sir John Whitmore describes coaching as unlocking a person's potential to maximise their own performance. It is helping them to learn rather than teaching them. I think coaching is popular because the philosophy that underlies it is appealing. It's rooted in the belief that an individual will always have the answers to their own problems, and that all they need is a coach to help them to find those answers for themselves. Coaching is therefore deeply respectful of the learner. So I would say the core principle of coaching is therefore respect. This is a highly empowering approach for leadership development. And now there is a whole generation of leaders and learners and managers and educators like me who have grown up experiencing coaching both as a learner and as a coach. we see this as an integral part of learning, of management, and of leadership, both being coached ourselves and helping the people around us to learn through coaching. There are lots of models for coaching, but at their heart, all of them prioritize 4 skills. The first is questioning, because asking good questions will evoke awareness in the person you're trying to help. That high quality awareness will then help them to find the answers that they need. And once they have those answers, more questions will help them to craft the plan that they're going to follow, make the decisions that they need to make, and commit to those decisions. A vital part of coaching is encouraging the learner to take responsibility for their own solutions and for their own decisions. The second skill is listening. To properly understand the person you're coaching, to properly understand the problems that they're having and the challenges that they want to work through, you need to be able to listen very carefully. And without listening very carefully, you can't possibly know what the right next question is going to be. If you turn off your listening to work on the next question, you'll probably get it wrong. If you listen carefully and then pause when the learner has finished speaking, you can then frame the right question. And never ever discount the impact that giving someone a good listening to can have on their motivation, their energy, and their confidence. An important part of being coached is simply being listened to, because it doesn't happen to us enough in the world of work. The third skill is evoking awareness and responsibility. And of course, this follows from questioning and listening in a natural way. One of your important jobs as a coach is to evoke a high quality of awareness for the situation that your learner finds themselves in and the options that they have for addressing it. As they start to evaluate their options, then helping them to become more aware of the consequences of each option is vital. And then, when they've selected the options they're going to follow, your next role is to help them to take responsibility for the analysis they've carried out and the choice they're going to make. And of course, next, they will be making plans for how they're going to take action. And here, taking responsibility for those plans and for their actions and committing to them is essential if they are to make good progress. Finally, after a first coaching session, your learner will go away and take action. In a second coaching session, you will then use your questions to help them to become aware of the consequences of their choices and to take responsibility for those consequences. Coaching is an ongoing relationship, and awareness and responsibility are at the heart of that relationship. Also at the heart of that relationship is my final skill, giving your learner your trust and your patience. You need to give your learner enough time to work through their problems in their own time. You need to be patient to listen to them, to ask questions, to listen to the responses and keep asking questions until they have fully worked out their problems. You also need to trust that they have the right solutions rather than feeling that you need to dive in and give them yours. You need to trust that, yes, they will make mistakes, but that those mistakes are part of the learning process. Remember, the learner is responsible for their learning, not you. Of course, you must balance your obligation to help them to learn with your absolute obligation to avoid putting them at unnecessary risks. But balancing that means recognizing that some risks are appropriate and some mistakes are learning opportunities that do not cause real danger. But the thing that often surprises new coaches is how often the learner can find a good solution straight away in the first coaching session. And often that solution will turn out to be a better solution than the coach would have suggested if they'd allowed themselves to. Perhaps a fifth key skill is silence, the ability to keep your mouth shut. Perhaps the tool of choice for most coaches in the workplace is the GROW model, which was developed by Sir John Whitmore, Graham Alexander, and Alan Fine in the early 1990s. In fact, the GROW model, as it's commonly called, is more properly the Grow Me model. It's articulated most clearly in John Whitmore's book Coaching for Performance, and I'll put a link to it in the description. Grow Me stands for goals. We start by helping our coachee to set goals for the session. Reality. This is where we help the coachee to understand the reality of their situation and the challenge they want to work on. Options. This is where we help our coachee to understand and identify as many options for how they can proceed as possible, and then to evaluate those options. Will. This last part of the GROW part of the acronym is where we help our coachee to make a decision about what they will do and to commit to that decision so that we can help to hold them to account. But then in the next coaching session, we will also help coachee to monitor and evaluate the results they've got from taking action before setting a new goal, identifying a new reality, finding some more options, and making a new will to act. However, there are plenty of other coaching models which all share many similarities with the GROW model. Here are some of my favourites. Dr. Sabine Demkowski and Fiona Eldridge developed the ACHIEVE model. Assess the current situation, creative brainstorming of options, honing goals, initiating options, evaluating options, valid action plan design, and encouraging momentum. The CLEAR coaching model was developed by Peter Hawkins. It stands for contracting, listening, exploring, action, and review. Worth Consulting has its OSCAR model: outcome, situation, choices and consequences, action, and review. And finally for me, there are two models that use COACH as their acronym. The first is in the Coaching Pocketbook by Ian Fleming and Alan Taylor. For them, COACH stands for competency, assessing the current level of performance, outcomes, setting outcomes for learning, action, agreeing tactics and initiating action, checking, giving feedback and making sense of what has been learned. In the Coaching and Reflecting Pocketbook by Peter Hook, Ian McPhail and Andy Vass, we have clarify the issue, open up resources, agree the preferred future, create the journey, and head for success. So there are plenty of models that you can use to help you to learn, understand, and remember the coaching process. But remember, what really matters is your ability to listen, ask good questions, trust and respect your coachee, and help them to gain a better awareness and take more responsibility for their actions. Coaching is a wonderful way to develop your own leadership and to develop the leadership of others. Please do give this video a like if you've enjoyed it or learned from it. I'll be making loads more great management courses videos for you, so please do subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you don't miss any of them. I look forward to seeing you in the next one, and in the meantime, keep learning.